right, welcome back to the BFR Podcast. I'm your host, Dave. You can follow me on Twitter at Dave_BFR. I'm joined by my co-host, Ficky. You can follow him on Twitter at It's Ficky Baby. We have a great show today. Great guest. But before I get into that, Ficky, man, how you doing?
Man, I am doing good. It is warm out. Weather is nice, and we're here talking Bears football.
Absolutely, man. But again, like I said, we have a great episode. We have Jacob Infante from the Windy City Gridiron. He's going to be joining us here in a second. But we're excited. We're going to be going over Justin Fields, kind of just talk about the NFC in general and where he ranks among all the NFC quarterbacks. And then, like I said, we're going to go ahead and get to know Jacob Infante a little bit better. He's great. He's going to be a great interview. And so we'll go ahead and get over that here in a second. But Ficky, before I do you have anything you want to say, man?
Nope, I'm ready to go.
All right, let's hop right in. All right, so we have Jacob Infante here from the Windy City Gridiron. He's the lead NFL draft analyst over there. If you read any Bears coverage heading into 2023's draft, you probably read his content. He's great. He's consistent, puts out a ton of content. But Jacob, we appreciate you hopping on the pod, man. How you doing?
Now I'm doing great. Man, I'm just this is my weird time of year because like the draft, it's come and gone at this point. And people say it's too early to prepare for the 2024 draft. So, I mean, I'm trying to keep it light. I mean, I've been working on the download though. I'm not going to tell too many people about that, but I'm just looking forward to this season. Honestly, there's a lot of, a couple months ahead of us before, actual games start taking place. And I just can't wait for it to get here, honestly.
Yeah. I saw a tweet earlier today. I'm not even gonna lie. I think it was the edge rushers. I think about like 10 of them, 10 names.
Yeah.
I was like, this man.
I've never
I haven't heard any of them.
Yeah, Jacob, is there like a sigh of relief once the draft ended, you get like a day of peace at least? You'd be like, okay, like I can relax. And then you just like 2 days later, you're back at work.
Yeah, no. So I think a big part of it for me is like, I get fatigued, like more like not of like watching draft prospects, but like talking about the same guys. So like I'm cool right now watching 2024 guys because they haven't been talked about to death. But like, with the 2023 draft, you're looking at you're talking about the same guys over and over again for all these different, months. So yeah, no, I was able to get right back into it pretty quickly, but not gonna lie, I did like that the Saturday night and that Sunday, man, that was some of the best days of my life right there, just because I had no work to do, no nothing. It was sick.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Cool. So before we hop into Justin Fields, obviously we're going to talk a lot about him today on this pod, but how was the draft process? Like, I know you interviewed a ton of prospects. How was it, and then also are you shocked that any prospects didn't land at the Bears that you thought were going to be there? And then how do you think briefly what the 2023 draft class for the Bears? What are your thoughts on it? Are you excited? But just honest review over that.
Yeah, for sure. So I think first of all, the 2023 Bears, the draft class itself, I was happy with. Like Darnell Wright a lot in round one. The day 3 picks, I absolutely loved. I was a huge fan of, especially round 4, round 5. I think just that 3 pick stretch of Roschon Johnson, Tyler Scott, and Noah Sewell. I think in that order, I'd have to go back and check, but regardless, those 3 guys, going in that stretch after each other, I thought that was all just tremendous value on my board. The draft process itself, I mean, I loved it. That's my big thing. I love the draft. I built a little, like a niche for myself, and I'm very happy with it. The interview is honestly probably my favorite part of the whole process because you get the chance to like talk to these guys, and like it's kind of crazy because like you watch them on tape, you hear people talk about them, you see clips and stuff being shared, but like they're real people, and like you get to talk to them and connect with them, and it's such a cool opportunity. So I mean, I love that. Honestly, I was a big fan of being able to speak with those guys, and just the whole draft process in general. I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
But Jacob, how many people? Yeah, I was gonna say, how many people do you interview typically? You think you have to go through?
I think it's something like 25, 30, something like that. So it's a decent amount. Like I'm not talking to everyone in the class.
Yeah.
But,
is that a wide range too? Or are you like mostly focused on like kind of day 1, day 2 type players?
Yeah. So I mean, it's a pretty decent range. usually it can be a little bit tougher to access like some of the top 10 picks and stuff like that. But I talked to, let's see, I got one first rounder this year, which was down from last year. Last year I had 4. This year I had shoot, why am I blanking on? Oh, Kalijah Cansey. I had him from Tampa Bay. So usually a lot of it is, going to be day 2 guys, day 3 guys. And, I got a couple of guys who signed on with places as undrafted free agents. I like to, it's fun to me to talk to, like the big name, the Power 5, massive school type guys. It's also a lot of fun to talk to some of the smaller school guys like FCS, D2, D3, and to be able to, like talk with them, see where their, where their journey's taking them.
Yeah. And then lastly, with that draft class for the Bears, are you surprised first of all, Carter, are you surprised they passed on him? And then secondly, which names are you surprised the Bears didn't pick?
Yeah. So I understand what the Bears did with Carter. I really do. I think Ryan Poles, he made a comment, I think it was a couple days ago. It was something along the lines of, we know where we're at right now as a franchise, and we're trying to establish a culture. And, taking a risk on character, that's not the best move for us right now. And I think Philly was the best possible landing spot Jalen Carter could have possibly had, because it's an established winning culture. He's got friends there. And, it's just a rock solid. It's an established organization, an established regime. The Bears, it's a newer regime that they have right now at GM, at head coach. So I understand why they'd pass on him. The way I see it is they tried to leverage the Eagles into thinking they were interested in Jalen Carter. But I think the fact that they traded out of that pick, knowing, probably damn well that Carter was going to be the pick for the Eagles at 9, I think that shows that Darnell Wright was going to be the guy regardless. So, and they got an extra 4th-round pick out of the deal. So I'm happy with that. And the one guy that I'm kind of a little bit surprised didn't end up a Bear, I'll say probably Adetomiwa Adebawore, the defensive lineman from Northwestern. I was a bit surprised that he fell as far as he did. And he ended up in the 4th round of the Colts. And, you're looking at the Bears, they passed on him, several times. And not just that, but they took 2 defensive tackles. They took Javon Dexter. They took Zach Pickens. And then he fell into round 4, and they traded back. The Bears had another chance to take him in round 4, and they didn't. I thought that he would have fit their profile really well with the length and the athleticism and the high motor, but obviously they felt differently. So I'm interested. I think Indy, that's going to be a good landing spot for him. But I was a bit surprised with how it turned out overall with where he ended up getting drafted, and the fact the Bears passed on him so much.
Yeah, you were pushing him hard. I remember hearing about that. I've seen you tweeting about it. But I am shocked because they were banking on traits for a lot of these guys. And if there's one guy you want to do that with, it was likely him. What do you think?
Isn't he a little undersized though? Because I think they were talking about comparisons of like stature of like Aaron Donald, and he's a little bit. I mean, Donald's huge. Don't get me wrong, but when you're talking about like height and length, he's not as big as compared to like Zach Pickens.
Yeah, so it's an interesting situation with him because he rushed a lot off the edge at Northwestern, and he's like what 6'2", 280. So like in terms of like size, he's a bit smaller for a D tackle. It's a weird thing with him because he's got long arms. Like his arms are more than long enough to play the position. But he is a bit undersized, so he'd probably have to gain like maybe 10, 15 pounds at the next level. And, if he can do that and he can maintain his, sub 4.5 into the 4.4 speed, I think that'd be massive for him. But it's going to be interesting. He's not probably going to be more of a developmental guy, but I'm personally still like, just from an outsider's perspective, a bit shocked that he fell where he did.
Yeah. And then outside of, I guess Darnell Wright, who was your favorite pick for the Bears in this class?
Oh, I'd say Tyler Scott. Honestly, he's someone, I had him as one of my top 10 receivers in this class. I think I had him 9th. I'd have to go back and check, but I know he was someone I saw as a 3rd-round talent, so to get him in round 4, I was really impressed with. I think that, you watch him on tape, obviously he's a really fast wide receiver. He's got, tremendous breakaway speed and all that, but he's not just a fast guy. Like, he knows how to run routes, and, the footwork's good. The intelligence is good in terms of setting up DBs. Is like, all right, how am I going to leverage this guy, make him think I'm going this direction, cut the other way. He's a good technician. So he's not the biggest guy out there. He's not the strongest guy out there, but he's fast. He's quick out of his breaks. And I like him a lot. He was actually one of the guys I had the chance to interview leading up to the draft. And he's the only guy the Bears picked that I was able to interview. But man, I love talking to him. Like, I can see Ryan Poles having that opportunity to talk to him, watch the tape, and buy into him as a culture fit. I think that even if it's not going to be in year 1, I think he'll develop into a starter down the line.
Yeah, I think he's Darnell Mooney's replacement, to be honest. So,
yeah, no, I mean, that's going to be interesting to me, because I think Tyler Scott can do a lot of what Darnell Mooney can do. Obviously, Darnell's more proven at the NFL level and Scott hasn't played yet, but I do think from a pure, like, a skill set perspective, they have a lot in common. So that's going to be interesting to see. I think there's a chance they still bring back Mooney over Claypool, even with Tyler Scott in the fold, but I don't know. That's going to be interesting. I think this year, I'm really honestly kind of intrigued to see, like, who's going to get re-signed and who they're going to let walk.
Yeah. If there's one thing I don't really talk about or try to get into kind of discussions, at least on Twitter, is Claypool, because, like, it's such a weird thing last year. I was very excited about the trade. And then, I mean, honestly, he didn't have a lot of time. I think he dealt with an injury. And then coming into that Bears offense with Fields, and like I said, I think he could pop next year, but I mean, I can't prove that, it's just like a gut feeling, but I really think he could. Like, he very well could go back to his rookie season where we were talking about, I think it was, we were wishing we were picking him instead of Kmet at that time, if I remember, because of how great he was that season. So even if he doesn't, kind of replicate that entire season, I think he still has a chance to be a piece, here in the future. But I'm excited, man. But speaking of Justin Fields, let's go ahead and transition to this. So the NFC is kind of wide open. Aaron Rodgers is gone, so not just the NFC North, but we're going to talk about where Justin ranks just among the NFC quarterbacks. And so before I kind of start listing some off and we kind of start comparing the two and see who we'd like to take, Infante, I know you like Justin. I think we all know that. But where do you think he ranks right now? Is he top 5? Obviously probably top 10, but where do you think he ranks right now? And then where do you think he will end up at the end of the 2020 or end of next year, next season?
Yeah. So I do think that, I mean, obviously he is top 10 in the NFC. There's a lot of uncertainty in the division right now, for a lot of different teams. I don't think he's top 5 yet. I think that, he certainly has the potential to be, and I think there's a good chance he'll end up there at the end of the year, especially because you consider the plays that he's made with, the lack of offensive pieces that he has around him. I think that, bringing in DJ Moore, having both Darnell Mooney and Chase Claypool healthy heading into the season, and giving Claypool that chance to truly, like, get to know the offense and have the full offseason to, soak in information. I think that's going to be big for him. But yeah, no, I think that you're looking at Jalen Hurts. He's the top guy in the NFC. He's the top quarterback. I really don't think that's up for debate. And then from there, it's just a matter of, all right, who's number 2? For me, I'd probably say Dak Prescott. He's probably the second best quarterback in the NFC to me. And then you can go with really just a combo of a lot of different guys. Maybe you could put Kyler in there, Kirk Cousins
when healthy.
Yeah. When healthy. Yeah. So that's another thing that's going to be interesting to, play into effect. Kyler, when he's healthy, he's not elite by any means, but he's a good quarterback. Stafford was kind of down last year, but he was
injured too, right?
Yeah, yeah,
He,
yeah.
he had kind of like a Russell Wilson season. I mean, not nearly as bad, but just a
Yeah.
weird one where you don't see that very often.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then like Gino had a great start to the year, but then he cooled off a little bit down the stretch. Man, I don't know. I'm taking Fields probably. I feel comfortable saying top 7. I feel like I'd take him over, you're looking at guys like Daniel Jones. I'd take Fields over Jones. And then like your Jordan Loves, your, Baker Mayfields, Desmond Ritter, Sam Howells, guys like that. And then Derek Carr too. There's another Derek Carr is a guy I throw into the mix up on top. Again, not number 2 or anything, but he's in consideration. So I'd say Fields is probably like 7th. If I had to hazard to guess right now, so he's probably middle of the pack, which I think says a lot considering his lack of, traditional passing production. But when you factor in his ability to run the ball, when you factor in the ability to extend the play and the serious flashes he's shown as a passer, I think that there's really a lot of upside there. I think he'll end up top 5 by the end of the year. It's just a matter of really where exactly that's going to be.
You muted.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So can you read my lips there? No, what I was saying
no.
was with Justin, what excites me the most is back in Ohio State. Cause I mean, he didn't run. He was a passer. And maybe, college is different, a lot different than the NFL. It's slower, but I mean, it's there. It's possible, especially with the supporting cast. It's going to be night and day this year for what he has, if everyone stays healthy.
Well,
but
that's a big difference. That's a big difference too, though. His supporting cast at Ohio State.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, come on, like
that
all first round wide receivers so it's like,
yeah.
And he came to the Bears. And it's like you have EQ. You know what I mean?
He didn't have. Did he have Harrison? He didn't have Harrison, right?
No,
he was on the
Olave and Wilson.
JSN a little, but that
JSN
was like
when he was
Olave,
young.
Garrett Wilson.
Good God,
guys over there, yeah.
Isn't that funny? Harrison's not even there yet. That's how dominant the Ohio State wide receivers have been.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I guess real quick, what do you think of Marvin Harrison Jr.? I mean, he's a potential Bears prospect. It's possible. Maybe.
We'll see exactly where he ends up. I think that you're looking at probably him being more of a target with the Panthers pick because I don't think the Bears are going to be bad enough to get him.
Yeah.
This is going to sound like super hyperbole on my part, but I don't care. I think you're looking at damn near Terrell Owens.
Yeah.
That's wild.
I've seen that. I've seen Calvin Johnson too.
Yeah.
Sit-ups in the driveway, Terrell? Is that what we're getting?
Yeah. No, absolutely.
That's prime right there.
My God, yeah. But no, man, I think like you're looking at the size, the speed, the ball skills, he's route running. He's got it all. I mean, and the crazy thing is like, I wouldn't hate if people had him as their top prospect in this class, like even over Caleb Williams, even over Drake May from North Carolina. He's just that good. Yeah. So we'll see exactly how high he goes, but
it's a premium position too. So do you think, so the Bears say they land they're 3rd. Do you think would you rather them trade back or would you rather them just go ahead and take Harrison if he's on the board? Obviously it's such a long ways away. We don't know what our needs are. I mean, we could be looking at a great wide receiver room and not even thinking about it come next year, but like, is he worth it? Not even just for the Bears, but just taking him at a top 3 pick.
Based off of what I saw last year, I'd say, yeah, he is. I think he just really, I think he would have been wide receiver 1 in this class. And in most classes, honestly, like, someone with that high of a physical upside, who's that refined. I mean, you don't see that very often heading into the draft. Like, you're talking like a Jamar Chase level type of prospect. And he's a guy, he went like 5th, I think.
Yeah, 5 or 6 or something like that.
Yeah, somewhere around there. And I think that's, where you could see Marvin Harrison go, if not maybe a little higher. So, I just off of what I saw this year, he's someone I'd take that early. You don't see receivers going that early too often. I think I tweeted something. It's like, Calvin Johnson was the first dude since 2007. He in 2007, he was the last wide receiver to go in the top 3. I could see Marvin Harrison being the one to break that.
And are you seeing that more, like these wide receivers from college being almost more like NFL ready compared to like some other positions where it takes, a little bit longer to kind of develop and get caught up with the NFL speed and things like that?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that especially with like in college, you're seeing, a bit more trending towards a pass heavy approach, a rise in like the air raid system, stuff like that. Receivers are running a lot more routes. They're catching a lot more balls. And then just Ohio State's like a factory in general. I mean, Brian Hartline, the receiver coach there, he's been freaking phenomenal. Whatever Ohio State's paying him, they're not paying him enough. So, but yeah, no, I think that's a very good point. Receivers, you're seeing a lot more guys who are polished really and, know what they're doing in addition to having all this physical upside. So it's been really impressive to watch these past few years.
Awesome. Hey, Vicky, so do you have any other draft questions or anything related before I start going over these quarterbacks?
No, not really. I kind of agree with him along the sentiment. Like, I feel like Tyler Scott, even I think Dane Brugler said that was his favorite. As people who love weapons, like that's great. And I just think the best thing is like kind of going back to a discussion we're having earlier. It's like a good problem where it's like we kind of have too many wide receivers. Like, think about that. When is the last time we're like we have too many? The last time we had like 2 decent was Brandon Marshall and then like early Alshon Jeffrey. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With Martellus Bennett punching people. So it's like it's just mind-boggling that's kind of like the roster that we have now, where like the offense is actually better than the defense by far. So yeah, I'm just excited overall.
I mean, last year, I was getting excited about ESB, it was such a different time. We were just trying to anything we could find, whether it was waivers or just anybody. I mean, even who the guy that we traded from New England, which I kind of still liked him. He had that one touchdown catch. Like,
he had that one big one too. That big one he had on Jair as well.
Oh yeah.
I remember that.
Kind of mossed him.
Yeah. Man. Anyways, though, so let's go ahead and start it. So kind of similar we did earlier, Jacob. I'm gonna name off a quarterback. You just tell me who you're taking and just give me why you're taking Justin, or why you're taking other said quarterback. And Vicky, I'll kind of after Jacob answers, you'll go, and then if I have something, I'll go ahead and say it. But we're gonna start off, I guess easy. Sam Howell.
Yeah, I'm taking Fields. You're relying on like a day 3 second year guy to step in and be the guy. Like, we don't know what Sam Howell is really at the NFL level. So yeah, no, give me Fields.
Okay, Vicky.
Yeah, come on.
All right,
it's obviously Fields.
All right, so we'll make this a little hard. Well, not harder, but Carolina Panthers, Bryce Young, rookie contract.
Yeah, no, that is enticing. I'm still going to take Fields, and if Panthers fans see this, then they're going to be coming at us all because they
should be.
Yeah, as they should. That's their guy. That's who they traded up for.
Yeah.
And I think there's a good chance Bryce Young develops into a really good player, but I also think there's a good chance that Fields, grows upon what we've seen from him. And I think the fact that, we don't know what Bryce Young's going to look like in the long run, especially with the size. Is he durable enough to be able to take all those hits and to play, full seasons? Not too many quarterbacks that size have excelled in the NFL. And even the ones who are like, sub 6 foot, like, Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, they're built a lot better than Bryce Young is. So I like Bryce Young a lot. I think he's a really good player. I'm taking Fields though.
Yeah. Vicky, you want to add anything? Are you taking Fields or you?
Yeah, I'm going to just go off of, go with Fields just based off what we've kind of seen and, the momentum. We have a little bit more data. Again, you going with Bryce Fields, it's kind of like we're starting over. There is the height limitations, the size limitations. Yeah, so it's just like, he's smaller than me and I couldn't imagine I would get destroyed on a football field. So
to play devil's advocate, I guess that's what I'll do. Bryce, he can I don't think processing is an issue with him. And he is kind of sneaky athletic. And then Fields, he hits a lot of guys in the helmet, and he's tall, he's a big guy. So, it's going to be interesting to see how I think they're both going to be very, very good.
Yeah.
But again, it's kind of hard. I think the Bears kind of showed that it's hard to pass on Fields, who showed kind of some promise with such a limited supporting cast. And you have Bryce Young. If you take him first, then you're kind of putting a lot, you're putting a lot of pressure on him coming into Chicago, especially a city that, yeah. So anyways, I agree with all that, but this one, again, kind of easy one, probably Desmond Ridder.
Yeah. I mean, I'm taking Fields there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought Ridder was solid coming out of college, but
was he last year?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was a rookie last year. I think that Ridder, like his strengths really are, athleticism and arm strength. Fields is better at both of those. And he has, more of a pedigree, more of, more actual NFL tape to go off of. So yeah, Fields for sure.
I was gonna say, I don't think Ridder played that much because Mariota, right? He played maybe the back end of the season. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go with Fields. Fields a top 15 pick. He like Jacob said, they're similar in the way they play, but like Fields is much better in both areas. So
yeah.
Are they going with him next year? Or is he going to be the guy?
Yeah.
For a little
that's
bit
what
at
they've
least?
said so far. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's him and then like Taylor Heineke.
Yeah, he's the backup.
That spot. Yeah. But
what a good backup.
Yeah.
It's a great, actually, that's a great backup.
Seriously.
Oh, no, absolutely. Yeah, no, I love me some Heineke.
All right. So this one could be fun, but Brock Purdy.
That's a tough one because
irrelevant.
Yeah. Because like Purdy, he did a really good job with the 49ers and like down the stretch of last season and then the playoffs, I was impressed with what I saw. That's also a really small sample size with a super favorable situation and one of the best offensive coaches in football. So I don't know. I mean, as of now, I'm still taking the physical tools and the playmaking ability. I'm still taking Fields over Purdy. But I'm going to be interested in see what Purdy can do this year. I think he's going to start, and I think he deserves that shot. So I'm curious to see how he's going to show out for San Fran this year.
Before I hand over to Ficky, I think Shanahan is picking Fields too. I think they're regretting that a little bit because, man, wouldn't he be fun over there?
Of course they're regretting it. They went through like 4 quarterbacks in a season. Yeah. I mean,
Fields with in that offense, like I think he's gonna be great here. But I just feel like if history, if we go back and they actually take Fields, they could have a Super Bowl.
Oh yeah,
in my opinion, just because of how. I mean, Purdy, like I said, he did great with a very great situation, but Fields with the way that he runs, again, I don't know. I thought it could have been really, really interesting. But Ficky, you're probably taking Fields, or
but I agree with Jacob though. That is a very favorable situation. You know what I mean? I kind of view it like where if you look at, obviously we go back to the scare of not taking Patrick Mahomes. It's like, if Patrick Mahomes would have been in a Bears uniform, would he really be Patrick Mahomes? Because I mean, this man dropped into Andy Reid. You know what I mean? So it's like I kind of look at it in the same way, not taking credit away from Brock Purdy, but I'm like coaching scheme. We've seen over there in San Fran, they drop almost anyone in that system and they're able to win games. You don't see that over here. So of course, Fields over there would probably dominate.
With Mahomes in that situation, he even had Matt Nagy, and I don't want to I know he's not the best head coach, but as far as where he was then, I mean, he was a great resource for Patrick. And then you had Alex Smith, that first season.
Oh, it was a perfect situation.
Yeah, great situation over there. But all right, we'll move over. This is probably quick. Jordan Love.
Yeah,
Love.
Yeah, I think you're paying $20-something million to a guy who's only started like what? I think he started one game. He played in a couple.
Greatest highlight is like one pass in preseason.
Exactly. Yeah.
That slant went for a touchdown. I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
Was that to Watson?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I think he actually had one in the regular season too. But so are you taking this is week 1? Are you thinking the Bears we're at home?
Yeah,
it's early still, but
I think the Packers, like, they've got a lot to like, especially on defense. Like that pass rush, I think is going to be really good. Like that's going to be a good test for the Bears right out of the gate. But I like the Bears offense better than I like Green Bay's offense. So that's going to be
weird to hear.
Game. Oh my God. Yeah. No, I feel like I haven't been able to say that in like
decades.
Exactly.
I don't even know if I was born.
Yeah. But no, I'm taking Fields over Love though.
Yeah,
Vicky?
same sentiment over here.
Okay. Baker Mayfield. Assuming he starts in Tampa.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still taking Fields again.
Yeah.
I think Baker gets too much hate.
Oh yeah.
He's not a franchise quarterback by any means, but he's not a bad player. And I think some people mistake that. But yeah, no, I'm taking Fields. I think he's got an arm like around the same caliber as Baker, and he's more athletic, and he's a better playmaker. And playmaking's, been a big part of Baker's game. And Fields is better at it. So that's what I'd take. I don't know what Tampa's going to be this year. I think Baker deserves that fair shot at the starting gig, but no, I'm taking Fields over him.
Baker's been on like 3 teams in the past, 3 years? So like, I think that says enough. Not that he's like, I would take him over a lot of other like quarterbacks that are starting, not like obviously the top dogs, but he's good enough for you to win games, like to stay competitive. We saw that in LA, but like at the end of the day, we're talking about someone you want to build a franchise with, and Fields is more likely to check that box than obviously Baker is. So I'm gonna have to go with Fields.
Okay. Well, we're going to get a little bit tougher here. So Derek Carr. It's funny, like a couple of years, I think 2 years ago before Fields, I was kind of on the Carr train, man. I was like, let's trade for him.
Well, we were desperate at that point. We were on every train.
We're on Wilson.
Anything.
And then we got Andy Dalton.
A little caboose right there.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, I'm interested in, are we thinking here just for this year? Or are we talking like,
I would say I would say just building a friend, just who you're going to pick, just kind of over the next five years or so. I think it could be interesting, like maybe win now, win next season, win as many games. But I think it's more fun to kind of talk, especially when you get to these younger guys, kind of who you just would take into account with everything.
And we're also not in a win now window. So it's kind of hard to imagine like, oh, this is for win now. And it's like, we were the worst team in the NFL. So
true. Yeah. San Francisco would be interesting. They'd probably have I don't know. But anyway, so you're probably, you said you're taking Carr, is that, or you're taking Fields over Carr?
I'm taking Fields.
Yeah.
I think Carr, I think he's a better, like more polished passer at this point, but then again, like I think that Fields is, you get him in a better situation. I think he's going to be able to take the next step. If this were just off of last year's performance, I'd take Carr over Fields, but Carr is a guy who's, a bit, he's not like rapidly declining, but he's, not like his best football is behind him. Whereas Fields, there's still plenty of upside to deal with. And he's a big time playmaker in a sense that few are in this league. So I'm taking Fields in the long run. And I think that as a passer, he'll be able to take the next steps necessary to be able to surpass Carr as just a pure passer, but also as an asset for the future.
Yeah. I feel like Vicky, does he just take everything you're about to say?
I mean, he's making great points, so I gotta agree with that guy.
I feel terrible.
Yeah, no, it's fair. I mean,
I'll cut down. I'll cut down a little.
No, it's good.
This is what we want to hear, man.
I'm glad.
I think these are probably going to be similar to Carr, but I mean, Jared Goff is interesting.
That is interesting.
Can he replicate last year?
Yeah, is it last year's Jared Goff, or is it, LA Rams Jared Goff? You know what I mean? Like, I guess we haven't seen Goff do it like consistently back to back, right? So if I see it again this year, I'd be like, that might be worth a re-signing if I was, Detroit, but it'll be interesting to see. Jacob, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, so give me I'm taking Goff right now.
Yeah. Very
narrowly, but Fields absolutely in the long run, because Goff, he is what he is at this point. He's not going to get much better. He's a solid quarterback. I think he gets too much hate just because he's not elite, but we saw it with the Lions last year that you put even like a decent situation around him, and he's a guy who can, lead you to some wins. I don't know if he's someone who's going to give you a massive, like a Super Bowl victory type of guy, especially at this point in his career, but he's a good quarterback. And I think that, people give him too much hate just because he doesn't have a tremendous arm, because he's not a tremendous athlete. He's just an accurate thrower of the football. So I'm taking Goff for now, but long run, absolutely Fields, because again, if you're building a team, I want to bet on upside at quarterback 100%. I'm not betting on, the safe journeyman. Well, not journeyman, but
I get what you're saying.
Middle ground type of guy. So that's I'm taking Fields if I'm building a franchise, but just off of 2022, I think Goff was the better quarterback.
Oh, agreed. What was the Lions? Were they like number 2 in offense? Or
they
were
had
like
a top 5. They had a top 5 offense. And for a minute there, they were scoring like 40 points a game.
And they started off slow, which is
Well, I think one
impressive.
game against Seattle was like 46-45 or something like that. And they were just putting
something insane like that.
I'm hoping the Bears kind of have that this year.
we got a little tease of it. That 4-game averaging about 30 points. I mean, that's for Bears fans, that's basically the same thing. So
that was such a weird stretch of games, because I was just like, man, I don't think we can keep scoring.
It was against decent teams too. It was like Cowboys, Dolphins, Giants. No, was it Giants? It wasn't Giants. I think we lost them. But it was like, it wasn't
Miami,
like actually,
right?
It wasn't like Mitch Trubisky against like the 32nd ranked secondary scoring 6 touchdowns. You know what I mean? It was like the serviceable defense.
That's another one. The Patriots, I think the Patriots kicked that off.
You're right. It was.
Yeah.
Yep. After the bye?
Yep. After the bye, Thursday night.
Or something like that.
Yeah. After the bye, Thursday night football, I think.
What a crazy turn of events that was, because like at that point, I think I was very nervous, because I was like, what is going on? Fields is not like, they're not running him. It was just looking really awful, like for a little bit, a little scary. And then that switch. But anyways, so I'll lump these two together, but Geno Smith and Daniel Jones.
Man, that's tough.
I love Geno, but
Geno,
great story.
Really impressive to watch him this year. Just the way that he bounced back. That's, he didn't have a tremendous second half of the season. First half was really good. I can't even lie. I was really impressed with what I saw there, but that said, it's a guy, he's over 30 and he just now had his best season. Like, how sustainable is that going to be? So I take Fields over Geno. Daniel Jones, that's a tough one, because he's won with that Giants offense, and they've put up solid points.
Beat the Bears last year.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure did.
Yeah. But I don't know. That one I think is a bit of a toss-up.
The thing is, if Fields is running on a straight line for an easy touchdown, he's not falling. And Daniel Jones, he's falling.
That's so funny. He's
taking the guy. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, he's the most athletic quarterback. Like, ever, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, he's athletic. Don't get me wrong, but you didn't look at him and you're like, "Are you athletic?"
I mean, last year the Giants game, I was so pissed off, because I was like,
all those rollouts.
Why can't Fields do this? And
bro,
we have Brisker.
Play.
Yeah, I mean, our eyes were just looking. It was just that was a frustrating game.
Well,
was that early?
It was like mid.
So it was after the Patriots game, I think.
No, before. I think it was before.
Was it before?
That was like earlier on in the year, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like week 5 or 6, something like that.
Yeah.
Did you guys watch every game last year?
Yes, I did, because I have an issue. All of them. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I'll take that back. I did not watch week 18, I guess, or game 17, because I watched because we weren't playing anyone. I watched the Houston Indianapolis game. That's which is basically the Bears game.
The Fields wasn't even playing either.
No,
I did. I was flipping
game.
back and forth. Yeah, I was flipping back and forth because I wanted to make sure we were losing, and then,
Yeah, after I went to the Bills game on Christmas, which was way too cold to go to. It was crazy. I bought food, and literally when I sit down, maybe 10 feet, because no one's at the game because they're all smart. The food was all frozen. Drink was frozen. You couldn't open it. I'm like, dude, what am I doing here? Like, what is this? And of course we're losing because that's what we do in Bears fashion. Bear weather right there. But yeah, after that, I was like, all right, you know what? I need at least 2 weeks off. So.
All right. So last four, because I think Hurts, we'll get to them actually. But this will be, so Dak Prescott, you kind of touched on him earlier, Infante. You had him number 2.
Yeah.
He's a little older, but who you're taking?
Yeah. So as of right now, in the long run, I'm still taking Dak. Just because like you've seen the Cowboys, they haven't had deep playoff runs, but they've been a good team for a while. And when Dak's healthy, they're playing real good football. I think, this year or last year, rather 2022, he, had some turnover issues and missed a few games, but I think he's one of the better passers, just pure passers in the NFC, solid arm, just a well-rounded skill set. I think that I do think Justin Fields has the higher ceiling than Dak. But Dak, I mean, you could make an argument he's a top 10 quarterback in the league. He's definitely not top 5, but you could argue that he's maybe top 10. And I don't think you can say that about Fields right now. So I take Dak over Fields, but I do think that the ceiling is a little bit higher with Fields. It's just that the floor is definitely lower than probably what Dak is right now.
Yeah. I think it's interesting with Fields because it's so hard. I think now that we're kind of playing this game, because with Fields, he proved a lot last year, but he's never had that supporting cast that he's going to have this year. So like that talent, it's like really hard not to bank on that. And then also, being a Bears fan, a little bit of bias in there. But Ficky, what do you think about Prescott versus Fields?
Man, it's tough. So I have a good friend who's a Cowboys fan. So like I see like every year playoffs and just like he has no faith in Dak, right? So like if you look on paper, I'm like, of course Dak is the better quarterback. He's shown that regular season, Dak balls out. That's how it is. But like I don't know if I could take that much like sorrow and grief. Like I don't know. I guess it's when you have expectations, it's much worse, right? When your team sucks like ours for a while, there's more hope than expectations you have to worry about. So when things go bad, you're like, hey, it doesn't matter next season, right? It wasn't our year anyways. With Dak, it's always like it kind of is their year. They end up winning double-digit games every season, and then they literally go in the playoffs and shit the bed. So I don't know. It's like, can you do enough in the playoffs for me to be like, you know what? I'd want a future with you, even though you're older, or do I just want to rather play like, well, maybe we'll just see what we have here, and then if it's not Fields, like next year, let's go for another quarterback. I think as a fan, I'd rather be like, well, let's just keep scratching at the lottery ticket. There's not these high expectations that are always never met. So that's kind of how I view it. But if you're looking at skill wise, like passing and all that, of course, Dak is much better than what Fields is right now. So like if you wanted to win, I'd take him. But I don't know. I haven't seen enough in the playoffs to like even get me excited to be like, can you even make it to the NFC Championship, So
how exciting would it be to see a Fields playoff game though? Like a Bears, that'd be
just a Bears playoff game. I'll be excited.
Yeah, right.
and not one of those fake ones like against the Saints where they just threw us in there. You know what I mean?
I still want like a real one, man. I was like, if we can make a run here, no,
that's the Bears fan in you. Most of us were like, bro, we have players punching each other, so we're probably not going.
Well, as soon as Wims dropped that pass,
it was over. You already know.
Yeah, there's no shot you're winning after that.
Oh no, you already know.
Because if he catches that, I think the trajectory of Trubisky's career changes. No, I'm just kidding. But that was a terrible drop. So we'll go real quick.
Bears fashion.
Kirk Cousins, Matthew Stafford. Any of those you guys taking over Fields in the long run? Obviously, they're older, but
yeah.
I mean, to be fair, Stafford has 1 year championship. So like if there's anyone I would take, it'd be Stafford.
If we were going to win now. Yeah.
Correct. Stafford also has had more years of consistency, right? With also like a shittier roster, right? Kirko Chains, I'm not taking him because he can't win during prime time. So Stafford can with even worse roster than what Kirk has had. So if there's one I would pick, it would be Stafford, but they're both old. So I'm going to go with Fields.
Yeah. I mean, long term, I'm taking Fields over both of them. I'm with you there. I think that you're looking at Stafford, obviously won the Super Bowl, and, he's been a good quarterback for a long time. I'm kind of curious to see how he's going to do this year, because last year, like we said, he got he got hurt, but even before then, he was having a bit of a down year. But then 2021, when he led the Rams to the Super Bowl, he had a really good season. So I'm not off the Stafford train just yet. I think I still think he's a good starting quarterback until he proves me otherwise over the course of a full year. So, but long run, yeah, I'm taking Fields. I think age plays a big part in that. Kirk is a good quarterback, but he's never been better than good. And I don't think he ever is going to be.
He's the
And
best at getting that money, though. It's
no,
about
absolutely.
the only category that he is number one
Oh
for.
man,
So
yeah. He's an all-time bag getter. Like he gets you mediocre results and
gets
he
the
just
bag.
laughs his way to the bank every
Crazy.
All right, so final two, probably going to be the toughest. So this one, honestly, I haven't seen someone fall off so quickly, which I guess it happens in the NFL, when it comes to like being a rookie, showing those flashes and being the next big thing. But Kyler Murray just signed that extension. When healthy, I think he's very, very good, but he also is smaller. What about Kyler Murray, guys?
That's another tough one because I think most years I'd take Kyler, honestly, because Kyler's been a good quarterback. He's been a Pro Bowler at this point, and he's had some impressive seasons. But Cardinals were bad in 2022, and Kyler, he had a solid year, but he couldn't elevate, what was a better roster than what Justin Fields had around him. And he wasn't making nearly the plays that Fields was making on a consistent basis. So even though he's proven to be a better passer at this point, the 2022 season plus the injury that he had, it does concern me a little bit. So honestly, I'm taking Fields over Kyler. So that might be bold, but I think that when you're looking at what Fields has shown, what he could be, I think there's a higher ceiling there.
Okay. Vicky?
For me, it's in the head, man. There's too much stuff going around about Kyler not being a leader. I mean, these are rumors, whatever. They haven't been confirmed. Of course, I don't know how you can confirm that, but
yeah,
just too much smoke. You know what I mean? So there's got to be a fire somewhere. So I'm just like, yeah, I don't like. We see how Fields is and how he holds himself. You know what I mean? And accountability and things like that. Like they don't have to put a clause in his contract. Well, of course he's on a rookie one, but there isn't, a clause where like, hey, you need to kind of look at film. You know what I mean? So it's like too much rumbling about that. It's like that's the last thing the Bears need is drama around a quarterback. We already had that with Cutler. We went through something like that. We don't need it with a much smaller version. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna have to go with Fields on that.
Okay. I think I'm taking Fields as well. Kind of agree with everything you guys said, but it is weird because like a year and a half ago or however long, Kyler Murray was insane, regarded highly. It's just so funny how things switch so quickly in the league, But now, speaking of switching, Jalen Hurts, he went from can he be the Eagles kind of franchise guy to, Jalen Hurts now. So right now, they're both really young. Who are you taking? Maybe I can rephrase this. First of all, give me who you're taking, and then tell me, do you think Fields can be better than Jalen Hurts when it's all said and done?
Yeah. So I mean, right now I'm taking Hurts, and I'm running away with that. I think that, obviously you make it to the Super Bowl, you have an MVP caliber season. You didn't win it, but you came damn close to it. You just played tremendously well. I think there's a chance Fields is in the same category as Hurts down the line. I also think that you compare year 2 Hurts to year 2 Fields. There are a lot of similarities. I think Hurts was a little bit better as a passer than Fields was, but a lot of similarities in playing style, a lot of similarities in, from a stats perspective. I think Fields can come close. I think he can really come close. I don't know if he's going to top Hurts. I think that's a really high bar to reach, so I don't feel necessarily super confident in saying it's going to happen. But that's not as much of a knock on Fields as much as it is praise on Hurts. I think he's the best in the NFC. I think he's a top 5 quarterback in the league, and I'm honestly really impressed with what the Eagles have in him.
Vicky?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna take Hurts too. I actually wanted when I don't know, when was he drafted? 3 years ago. I actually wanted us to take him. When he went in the second round, second or third. I was a big Hurts guy. I was like,
second round.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I was like, we should we easily. I think there was an opportunity where we could have taken him and we didn't. But yeah, I've always been a Hurts fan. Like how he deals with adversity too, from Alabama and still dealing with that, and then going to Oklahoma, still balling out, and then dealing with the adversity of not being drafted, like not being viewed as a high pick. You know what I mean? Not playing, things like that. That really shows character in someone. So like, I really appreciate that. And the man's just a fucking baller. Let's be clear. So can Fields be that? I think so. I really do. Could it be better? Sure. I don't know that. Like there's so much work that needs to be done. But if we do look at it, nothing's like apples to apples, but like the conversations of Hurts were very much similar conversation. Like no one expected Hurts to kind of make this jump, right? Yeah. There might be more rumblings now about Fields just because, I mean, the man almost broke the rushing record. Like he had a lot, he was definitely more, in like prime time and all things like that. Yeah. But I still feel like it's very much possible, especially since we've actually put a better roster around him. So if he's even in the same category, I'm happy. Like the quarterback doesn't have to be the best ever, right? Especially as a Bears fan, like, beggars can't be choosers. Like if you can get Fields up top 10 this year, even top 15, like in the whole thing, top 15, like I'm happy with that year 3. And then let's just see how you progress. Cause people are going to get older. They're going to fall out. If you can get within that top 10 range, that's when you put yourself in contention to actually start like winning the Super Bowl and things like that. So obviously I want him to be number 1, but if he's even in that range of like top 5 with Hurts, right? Top 7, things like that, like in the whole NFL, I think that's a win.
Yeah. I think it's interesting with Jalen because, like, I mean, his supporting cast did improve, and obviously Fields and this Bears team are nowhere near the Eagles, as far as just roster in general. But I mean, the offense is definitely different. But I think when it comes to Fields, I think I'm taking Jalen, obviously. But the one thing I don't think I've ever tweeted this, but I think there's a tier in running. And I know Jalen's a running quarterback, but I think Fields is a tier above that. Just because of that dynamic. And I think it's probably been talked about on talk shows and stuff, but I love Jalen. I love that he can run, but there's a different gear. Even when we saw him last year when they played against each other, there's just that I've never seen anything like it except for Vic. And even then I think it's a little different with Fields because how big he is and his change and emotion. And it's interesting, but I think, like I said, I think Jalen's obviously pick here, but man, in a couple of years, it's gonna be fun to kind of look back and see where these guys are. Maybe they could be going back and forth at each other, in the NFC Championship game, best case scenario.
Yeah, it's interesting, but on the other side, it's weird though. Well, I guess a different perspective is that his running is like top tier. We know that. But like in the ideal world, I don't even want you running. So it's like, does that skill even, does it even come into play? Obviously, like being able to evade and things like that, extending plays, of course. But like, I don't need to see you. I mean, I'm going to love to see it, but I don't need to see you break it for 60 yards, right? I'd rather you throw a bomb over top to DJ Moore for 60 yards, right? Mm-hmm. So yes, but I hope it gets to a point where it's more like Hurts, where Hurts runs when he needs to, but Hurts isn't really like running. There's still some design play, especially near the red zone and things like that for Hurts, but like you don't need him to do that because he's efficient enough of a passer to just pass the ball.
Yeah. With Fields, though, I think what's interesting is when plays do break down, because you don't want him running. And hopefully this year we don't see him running nearly as enough just because, these guys are going to get open. DJ Moore, he's going to be open a lot, sooner than what Fields has ever been used to. And then Mooney, it's just going to trickle down. But with Fields, I think when the play breaks down or when something, wrong route, anything happens or they're just covered, the fact that he can take it 60, it's nice. It's crazy. I've never seen it. It's so exciting.
Too. He's huge too. So it's not like this is like, oh, take it 60. We just need to, trip up his legs. It's like, nah, this is like a 6'4",
no arm tackles,
220. Like, nah, you need to bring this man down, but you got to catch him first.
Yeah. I mean, you're looking at guys, some of the most athletic quarterbacks in league history. You're looking at a Vic, you're looking at a Lamar Jackson, different types of runners. I feel like, I think those guys are a bit more shifty, but Fields is bigger than both of those guys ever were. And he's stronger too. So you're looking at like, I mean, you can't even really compare too many guys. Like I guess Anthony Richardson coming in from the Colts. I think
he's going to be fun.
He's going to be a lot of fun to watch because he's even bigger than Fields and he's also really fast. But I also think the creativity that Fields has, that's going to make him tough to top. So, no, I'm really interested in seeing what Fields is going to do as a runner. And when you look at the size and the sheer speed, I mean, that's such a rare combination that I feel like it's going to be really tough for any quarterback to really top.
Yeah. And I think his low key trait, like one of his best ones, is actually being able to like evade like a body on him, like when he's in the pocket. Like you're talking about, like I think I remember the play against the Eagles. Hassan White was right there for the sack, and he basically like spins out, or he does like a full bend, and the dude flies over top. You know what I mean? Like that's the stuff where I'm like, you're gonna always need that.
Is that the one where he stepped out?
Yes.
Is it?
I think it's
like,
one where he evaded all the way through, went down the field and then stepped out like on the 7. Yeah. But
that shit was
that's
crazy.
The stuff that's like really impressive because that's not like, that's not like a corner trying to attack you. You have that defensive end. It's like the biggest guy on the defense other than defensive tackle. So it's like, that's where it's impressive. So
just like the contact balance on him, when he's running or even when he's, just moving around in the pocket. I mean, it's absurd. It's tough to bring him down.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we'll wrap it up here. One last question, though. So next year, it's the end of the season. Playoffs are over. Where's Justin? What's your gut say, Vicky, and Infante? What's your gut say? Where's Justin? Is he top 10 in the league? Is he middle of the pack? Just off of what you think.
Overall, is this NFC? Okay.
Entirely, which the AFC, first of all, they probably have
4
of the top 5.
I'm glad we're in the NFC. I'm glad we are in the NFC.
It's gonna be a gauntlet over there.
Yeah, that's let them beat each other up. That's totally fine. And we'll sneak into the playoffs.
Yeah, all we got to worry about is them in the Super Bowl.
Right. That's one game. Let's just win one. That's it. Yeah, come on now.
Anything can happen. Yeah.
Yeah, but Jacob, where are you putting him?
So I think by the end of this year, he'll be. I think he'll be firmly in the top half of the league. I don't want to say top 10, but I think around like that 11 through 13 range. I think that's where we'll see him as an above average quarterback. And then 2024 is when I think you're really starting to look at him as, all right, this guy's, this is a star. I think there are still going to be some moments where, we're like, oh, Justin, what were you doing on that throw? But there's going to be less of them. There's going to be, hopefully you're going to see fewer hits, whether that's, not as many pure runs or whether that's him taking fewer hits and sacks. I think that'll help him out a lot in the long run. But I'm going to say somewhere in that like 11 to 13 range. I think he'll be widely seen as an above average quarterback by the end of the year.
Infante saying 11. He doesn't say 10. He's not saying top 10. He's like 11, 13.
I was so close. Yeah, I'm getting real specific with it, man.
No, that's exactly where I lay though. I was like, I always do like a floor ceiling type of thing. I guess I make a range. I guess that like helps me out. So it's kind of copying out. But like I see like his ceiling being like 11. I just can't throw him in top 10. There's way too many quarterbacks that have multiple seasons of, showing us that they're that dude. And even with 1 year, I don't think you can beat out because a lot of them guys are going to probably stay in the top 10. So I'm going to put like ceiling 11, floor like 15, 16 maybe.
Okay.
But I'm still okay with that.
So if he falls in that 11, 15, are you extending him?
Oh, yeah, no.
Or are you going to wait one more?
That's best Bears quarterback in Bears history. What are you talking about? You're extending a quarterback in the top 15.
Yeah.
I don't think Jay Cutler was ever top 15.
Was he? I feel like he had
maybe
a
1
year or two.
Yeah,
maybe 2012 was that the year where they went crazy. But still, it's like 1 year. So it's like, do you make it in that 1 year? It's like how we view golf. Like, it's like, okay.
And what was that year when he injured his thumb? Was it the Chargers?
Yeah.
Was it that year?
I think
7-1.
That might have been 2011. I want to say.
Yeah, the year before.
Yeah, the year before. Like they were like 7-1 or some shit like that.
That hurts. I remember as a kid, bro.
It's always injuries. It's always, like we would have made it to the Super Bowl if it wasn't, Caleb Haney game. It was injuries, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, and obviously he had zero leadership skills, so that was also a major key. But I mean, if Fields gets there, they're already starting to build a statue. I don't care. Like it's at least they're getting the foundations and the plans for the statue. So I would be happy for that. For year 3, Like, just look what Fields has already done now for this franchise, just in like excitement and hype. And like, we haven't seen anything like this. So unless he gets significantly worse, right, I still see him being at least top 15, 16.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, like I said, we're going to end it there. Jacob, thank you so much for hopping on the pod, man. We appreciate it. You can go ahead and follow him. Okay.
No, I was going to ask Jacob, where can they find you at? And throw in your plugs.
Yeah, no, definitely. So yeah, y'all can find me at Jacob Infante 24. That's where my Twitter stuff's at.
Hilarious.
Writing articles. Thank you.
Your shit is hilarious, by the way. I love it.
Took everything in my power to not bring up the tweet. I was like, I ain't gonna do it.
Yeah, I was expecting that, honestly. I was thinking that was gonna come.
No, man. Well, first of all, do you get that out? Do you get that in your comments a lot? Sometimes I just go in and I'm like, let's see if it's there.
Yeah, I've gotten used to it at some point. Yeah, I've like, especially like when I graduated, I saw some of the replies. It was like, oh, congrats, time to,
yeah.
So, I mean, like, I'm used to it. It's still kind of funny to me, like how that all went down. Like I was just, tweeting that. I'm like, all right, we'll see what happens. And then it just fucking exploded. Yeah, no, but yeah,
go find that tweet. You'll know what I'm talking about.
If you know, you know.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So like I said, and then the Windy City Gridiron, and like I said, he has great content. So you guys go ahead and give him a follow. We'll shout him out obviously on all socials. But again, thanks for joining, man. We'll have to have you back on.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. I appreciate you guys having me.